Welcome everyone. My name is Mason. I am the founder of Vending Sense Group. We are one of the UK's leading providers of workplace refreshments. And today we're going to give you a very quick overview on how AI is impacting workplace across FM teams as well, okay?
I'm Colin Kimber. I'm the Culture and Engagement Director at Pareto. I've been in that role since November. Before that, I was the Operations Director. So I've got 21 years of operations experience, and now I'm doing the engagement stuff on the side. So I've fed into this slightly more from a human perspective, how it's affecting our teams, and how they can use AI to enhance their working lives.
Thanks, Colin. Hi, I'm Adam Phillips. I'm the Sales Director for Pareto. To sort of complement Colin's human side of things, I'm a mechanical engineer, and my approach with AI has been very, very much about engineering and energy savings within buildings.
So things we're going to cover today, and we want this to be kind of interactive. So we're gonna want questions and stuff like that as well. So we're going to look at the changing role of facilities managers today, how AI can be used as a catalyst for efficiency. We're going to talk about the messy middle where a lot of us find ourselves. We're going to talk about practical examples of AI in the workplace, and we're going to talk about how you might be able to take next steps yourselves on your journey. Okay, so the first question for you guys: how would you rate your organization's level of AI adoption? Okay, so would you say you are, put your hands up if you feel like your organization is fully embracing AI. Okay. And hands up if you think if they're not really even scraping the surface at the moment. Okay. And there's everybody else around in that middle part where you're kind of like, people keep saying AI and no one really knows what to do with it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to talk about first. So there's this messy middle. So 92% of corporate real estate teams are planning or already running AI pilots, but very few of them are fully embedded into the organization. And although just over half of organizations that are using AI feel ready to scale it, a third of those planning to use AI feel ready to implement it. So we're all in this weird space at the moment where, if I talk about Pareto, so there's a lot of people I know are using it to write a nicer email and stuff like that, or they're using it to take the transcript from a meeting and pull the actions out and stuff like that, and that's a good use of AI, but it's not really going as far as it could go with it. So I suppose what we're looking at now is how can we actually enhance the use that's happening within the organisation. And I've been using my journey with it as well. So I'm absolutely someone that started off by using it to write emails for me. But I quickly realised that I was using it when there were multiple sources of information or multiple opinions that I was having to distill into one response. So helping people to understand that taking different strands of information and different approaches can be really, really useful. So here are some percentages for you. So early adopters are seeing significant gains in efficiency. And when we look at things like tech, like HVAC systems, people are starting to see some really impactful savings on their energy efficiency. And from our experience, even though the wider industry is looking at sort of like 8 to 19%, we're actually seeing between 20 and 25% efficiency when it's associated with assets. So I think
Now it's to me.
It's you.
Thanks, Colin. Thank you very much. So before we go into some examples of how Vending Sense are using AI within our business, can anyone tell us one area where AI is currently solving a real problem in your business? So like Colin's point, a lot of people are using it just for email drafting, making sure we all sound very professional. but there's so much more that it can do. So what we do normally here are things like help desk automation, so chatbots responding to tickets quicker, predictive maintenance, so spotting issues before things actually fail, which is speeding up and helping a lot of FM teams today. And kind of both of these are a really good indicator of where AI is delivering quite operational, but is solving real everyday problems, okay? So Vending Sense, and how is Vending Sense using AI today? Many companies in this industry are very reactive. If your coffee machine breaks, someone logs a call, someone comes out, and normally can take up to a week or 2 weeks. It's a known fact in our industry, okay? And what we're trying to do is completely flip that on its head. So our machines are constantly sending data back to us and automated into our ticketing system to log an engineer to you as quickly as possible, okay? Speeds up SLA, and ultimately the customer, i.e. yourselves, gets the best experience, okay? But no one else is doing that today, which is crazy. They also self-diagnose, so we should know there's an issue with your machine, whether that be a water machine, coffee machine, or a vending machine before you do, which is really important, which ultimately results on fewer on-site visits, reduced admin, shorter wait times, and ultimately lower costs for everyone. A reduction in maintenance costs between 25 and 30%, and also a reduction in downtime between 35 and 45%, okay? And here are just a couple of practical examples of how AI and refreshments are kind of helping organizations like yourselves. So we mentioned earlier service desk automation, which is really important. Automated replenishment and waste reduction. Predictive maintenance, we've just covered. Employee reward systems and promotions. And all of this is leveraging AI ultimately to improve user experience. If you guys remember 10 years ago, the old vending machines in the corner, people used to shake them to get products out. We're completely re-transforming the way that looks. And ultimately, we're just trying to build a better, smarter workplace for your employees, or not just employees, maybe your users as well, okay? And then to kind of underpin all of that, here is a quick case study of a large global gaming brand. So this is a smart vending machine now, where you can see also a smart coffee machine, where traditionally they was with a very reactive service provider. They transformed their estate to Vending Sense, where we constantly monitor their devices in real time across water, coffee, and vending. And it's improved their customer satisfaction by almost 95%. Okay, so that's a real world example. And here's a quick quote from that person at this gaming group, who is a mutual customer of Pareto and Vending Sense, by the way, which is why we're doing this session today.
So, one of the things about AI, and I'll talk about this from a building services engineering point of view, is that the benefit of implementing an AI strategy is it frees up engineering time. So the question to you guys is, if you had 20% more time, what would you focus on? Being less reactive, very good. In an engineering sense, in a building services sense, 20% more time, we look to divert into the critical assets. So the items that when they fail has a massive impact on the operation of that business. So typically there you'd talk about your critical air conditioning in your computer rooms. If you increase the maintenance inspections there, you are less likely to experience downtime. So how we unlock the time there? Well, automating administrative tasks. I think Colin's sort of covered that quite well by using large language models and other platforms, chatbots and the like. Faster reporting, so generating dashboards. I am completely platform agnostic, but I will say that when I've made a dashboard using Claude, it's a lot better than any other commercially available LLM. Better decision making. So back to Deborah's point earlier about having vast quantities of data, the benefit of using AI and large language models in that way is you consolidate that data quicker to enable a better sort of process on your decision making. And then accuracy. you are again able to analyze the data further and sort of highlight those outline errors that will bring you the more accurate result.
What are the common friction points that you find in your sort of like in your employee customer journeys or in your journeys through doing your jobs? Yeah, multiple systems, that sort of thing. And when I think about this as well, I think about the sort of the more physical environment things. So when an employee comes into a space, it's like, do they need to book a desk? Do they need a parking space? How about meeting rooms, that sort of thing? And actually, you can actually integrate AI into various things to be able to affect all these things. So from a facilities perspective, like how many people are coming into the building on what days and why? And actually, can we look at ways of enhancing the facilities that are available so that they're meeting the needs? So, like, you can think about this linking up to vending. So, for instance, if we know that on 1 or 2 days of the week that there's going to be a really, really heavy push on vending, then we already know that we need to have the stock there and it needs to be ready to go. And we also know, we know when there's going to be a quieter day, when we might need to mark things down in the vending machine so that you can get rid of them, so that when there's not as many people in the building on a Friday, say, you're not just sitting there with stuff going off that's going to be wasted.
And also to that part, if you are in a large building and you're on floor 25, but the vending environment is on floor 2, you can quickly access if the food in that vending machine is right for you. You actually want to take the journey down in that building to get the right products, okay? Which kind of covers onto your point as well.
And that's absolutely brilliant, right? Talking very much about the customer experience and how AI can sort of support that. The key question is always, how do you pay for it? So, looking at these 6 areas that we've highlighted here, if you start with energy when you're writing your business cases for implementing an FM AI strategy, that is where you are going to achieve the majority of your savings. To take the money from the savings, give some of it back to the CFO, retain some of it into your workplace strategy planning, and that unlocks the ability to roll out further platforms. And to your point, I'm so sorry I can't see your name, but Eleanor, to your point there as well, you can then start to look at the integrators that put all the platforms together and make it simple. One of the things that FM and Workplace has been saying for 20 years is we want a conversation at a higher level in an organisation. So we want to be talking to CFOs and CEOs. To do that, you need data, you need financial backing, and you need to make it bloody simple. So that integrator platform there sits at the top of the tree.
So where has AI helped you influence leadership or drive business outcomes? From my perspective, I'm in a role where I have to sit in a helicopter above 2 different organizational entities, and I have to be able to see how everything we're doing is influencing all the other parts of the business. So I have used AI to enhance my ability to lead in that space, so that I'm speaking the right kind of language for all the different areas of the business, but I'm also using it to kind of second guess my decisions to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So I've put a lot of effort into the AI that I use. I've spent a lot of time teaching it about who I am and how I think. I've told it don't ask me questions this way, ask me them this way because I can cope. I've taught them about who we are as a business culturally and what our challenges are. So if I put something together, I'm then able to ask the AI, think about this from a senior FM's perspective. Have I missed anything? And it'll actually sense check my plans to identify things that I won't have seen. So it's also really good from a leadership perspective when you've got to make a decision around something that's contractual very quickly, because you can put the contract straight into AI and you can say, what are the key risks for me here? And you can actually get to the points you need to focus on and have the right conversation quicker, rather than going through something line by line. So I use ChatGPT. So we're one of the organisations where we're having a conversation about what we should do about it and telling people that it's useful, but we haven't actually set use this, And actually, I was buoyed up because somebody's actually started a conversation about engaging a development company to create one for us. So what I tend to do is I depersonalize everything, and I take all of the company names out of stuff so that they're looking at raw data, and then I take what it's telling me and then put it back into the format so that I can see, especially with spreadsheet data, I will take what it's given me and copy and paste it back into where I have all the information.
Yeah, a sort of a real world example of that would be call it customer X, contractor Y, and employee A, employee B, employee C, as opposed to this is Experian, Pareto, and Tim Jones, Samantha Peacock, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I'm using it for cultural alignment with a lot of our customers at the moment. So when we're mobilizing a new contract, I will take our customers' values and mission as an organization, and I will put them in, and I will do a comparative analysis against ours and our other service providers, so that I can hone in on where I need to focus from a behavioral perspective in service delivery, so that people are actually they're focusing on the things that really matter.
Yep.
Here are some examples of how you can use it to drive strategy. So Adam's already mentioned things like energy and carbon footprint. What I found in Pareto, because we were a startup, when we were doing things like EcoVadis or a safe contractor and all that sort of thing, we tended to come at it fresh every time we had to do it. So what I'm doing with process and AI is trying to automate that as much as possible within the business. So when these accreditations and things come round, you just go to where the data is, and it's already compiled everything for you.
A huge part of that obviously is that buildings account for like 30% of carbon emissions in the UK. So actually, yeah, everything you can do to implement there is stronger for ESG.
Yeah. And actually, thinking about ESG, I did this. This is something I did last week. So we've got a customer that wants us to be making sure that we're aligning our ESG approach with them to benefit them. But nobody really knew what that meant. It was just something someone had said. So I was able to go and get their sustainability report, dename it, and put that in against what our service spec was. And I was able to go, if we do these 6 things in our service delivery, it's giving them what they're asking for, and it helped me to be able to do that. And I didn't need to go and find a specialist to interpret everything for me, and it made it very, very simple for the frontline team, because they just want to do a great job. And I mean, ESG and AI are the same thing. Every time anyone says those things, everyone thinks that it's a new job that you have to start, and actually a lot of the time the stuff is already there, embedded in the way you're delivering service. It's just about creating the connections.
And just to add to that, there's so many businesses today that are focusing on a product to solve an issue, but not the outcome. Okay, so we're adopting AI to deliver better outcomes for businesses and not just prompt. So, sorry, to your question.
Do you know what you're talking about where I work? So
this is why I was kind of looking.
Yeah. So our COO gets really excited about AI because he likes a cool new thing. Okay. And he likes Claude. Okay. Now the reason he likes Claude is because he thinks it's more ethical than the others. Okay. That's what's driven his decision. Whether or not it is ethical or not, I don't know. I mean, what I know about Claude is that it's really good for certain things, but actually Claude doesn't have much of a memory. So for the kind of work that I do, ChatGPT is more appropriate for me because it remembers what I said. I'm able to go back. I'm able to say, right, can you just reference that other conversation we had the other day? How does that actually fit into this, what I'm talking about now? And it remembers everything that's going on, whereas Claude won't do that. And no matter how many times he tells me that I need to switch over to Claude, it's not going to work for me. Which is why I'm quite interested about the concept of creating one for us. Because then we can say, actually, we want something that embeds into our operating system like Copilot does, because we're on Microsoft. We want something that's embedded, but we want something that can give us the kind of dashboards and data analysis that Claude can, but we want something that remembers who we are. I've created a very accessible sort of like hints and tips document that's very much built on my journey with AI. So I've tried to humanize it because I want people to be able to have a people-related conversation around this rather than an, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job discussion. around that, because the thing is, there are absolutely things in my world that I don't do anymore because I found an easier, quicker way to do it. But actually, it's freed up my time and my focus to be able to do even more impactful things. So it's about helping people to understand that we're not trying to manage away like experience or opinion or, you know, or qualifications and stuff like that. We're not trying to manage away that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to crunch the information and bring the threads together quicker so that you can use those things more effectively. So a little bit of policy, but we don't have an internal system yet, so we can't really do anything other than advise and say what our standpoint is. But then I suppose in a supportive way, give people hints and tips about how they can access it and how they can move beyond just saying reword that email for me, because it can do a lot more for you.
And just to add to that, we are on a journey. So it's a surprising fact that only 1 in 5 of us are actually using AI in workspace today, which is really surprising, right? You think everyone's using it. So we are going to be on a journey over the next few years to actually learn how this stuff works. But if you're an early adopter, you're going to be really ahead of the game, for sure. We're seeing that in many large organisations, there's going to be a clash for sure. But like I said, we are on a journey. A lot of the younger generation are using it every day. But the stat that I just said, that 1 in 5, is really surprising. There is going to be conflict for coming years until kind of we can all adopt one system, like Colin mentioned, that might not be Claude, it might not be ChatGPT, but it's one system that everyone trusts. That's where I see it going in the future. And maybe Adam, you could maybe add to that point as well.
There's an element here of how you present back the work that you've done and that you may have verified through an AI platform. And actually sort of showing that back. I'll look at somebody, if you copy and paste something from ChatGPT, it's very, very clear it's been copied and pasted from ChatGPT. There's the highlights are the same, the underscores are the same. Just change the font. Just click Control-B twice, so it takes out the highlights, and then actually interpret that and put it in your own syntax and language, right? The own way you would write. So you're getting ChatGPT to support the work in this case, or Claude, or Copilot, or whatever else. You're letting that do the work, but then you're interrogating that data. And this sort of ties into the point of particularly younger people. I say this as someone who's got a 10-year-old son, probably a bit too young for the workplace, but you know. He's certainly more advanced with ChatGPT than some of my colleagues. You get it to do the legwork, and then it's your brain that takes it to the next level. It's your human interaction, personal touch that tailors the output. And actually, by the time that it's read, there is nobody who'll know where that's, or, you know, what platform that's been through if it's done properly. From a senior leader point of view, being blunt, we've been using in the built environment machine learning. Computer fluid dynamics, things like that for 25 years or longer. It's just since large language models have come along and now they can interpret words and language in the same way we used to be able to interpret binary code. It's something that will make us more efficient and will be adopted. That is a senior leader change that will happen just in the course of time. And that may be some people retiring. But you know, as soon as you say to a senior leader, 20% more efficient, then you're talking the language.
To be honest, this conversation is why we did this, because we wanted to give sort of like real world practical examples from our different areas of the FM experience about like how we're starting to work with this. But we kind of wanted to get the conversation going because I think that's the only way. It's the only way to move forward. There are absolutely going to be people that don't want to use it, and it's actually you don't have to. You know, no one's going to stand there and say you will now do your work with AI. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But if we start having the conversation more openly, I think it dispels people's fears, and it starts helping people to see how it can help, and what its limitations are as well. Because you know, I don't think I go through a day without hearing somebody mention AI at some point these days.
Yeah. So this kind of final question really was, what's one area where you could start piloting AI tomorrow outside of a language model? great answer. Going back to your point around data, so it's also around, so we're leveraging AI to ensure all of our systems, we use a tool called Monday.com, which you probably all heard of before, HubSpot, which is a sales CRM tool, as you all know, and also a product called Vend Manager for our vending machines. And we're using AI to ensure that data is consistent across all platforms via a workflow. So that is a practical example of how we're using it today. Without AI, there will be incorrect data in every system that we use, which ultimately is bad for the customer, because when they call us for a service issue, we're calling them a different name or a different machine. So that's a practical example.
So I will not name any customers here, but we've got 5 different platforms in place on 5 different building types across the UK and Ireland now. They range from one system in a large, rather old office block in London, where we are controlling the inputs of power and then the output of the asset data, right? So how much like air and water it pushes out to cool down or heat up spaces. We're forecasting savings in year 1 of about £35,000, and there's an investment of 29,000 that's gone into it. So it will pay for itself within 1 year. And then beyond that, there's continual savings, which is fantastic. That's brilliant. That's quite easy. Where I get excited is where things are difficult. So we have one customer who have 12 sites across the UK and Ireland, and these go down to, we call them logistics hubs in the absolute middle of nowhere. Sheds, basically, right? Big sheds where they bring kit into, service it, send it back out. These buildings don't even have BMS in there. So we partnered with, in that example, a different IoT and AI platform provider who have put something called a BMS in a box in there. It's a communication card, plugs in, tells you what power is going where, and then from there, using IoT devices, they're able to optimize the output of the assets there to reduce the energy expenditure. And they do that without a BMS. So it's absolutely mind-boggling what we're able to do. There's then a bunch of other sort of supplementary technologies that plug into that, but that's not what today's conversation's about. You wanted me to say water getting wetter, didn't you?
No, don't say water blaze, because I have to drink every time you say water blaze.
Did that cover enough for you there?
Yes, that's good.
Very good.
So, this is kind of this is the sort of like practical challenge to you guys. So, like when you get hold of the white paper, there are some templates that you can use in the back. And what we're trying to encourage people to do is like start small. Think of something small that you can measure the return on investment, and then just give it a go. Use the templates, capture the information, and just start looking at where you can actually see the impact. Because I think this is probably one of the challenges, because this is such a, I don't know, an ethereal conversation that doesn't have a great deal of meat around it. You need to look for the data, and you need to look for the proof. So the challenge from this is to start looking at things that you can track. Start running those trials, look for the efficiency and the enhancement, and then look at where you can scale that within your business and where you can use that methodology to transfer over onto other areas.
Sounds good, and then that's done.
So, any further questions for us? The barriers are usually people. And it's usually fear and not understanding about what it can do. And like I keep saying it. Most people think that it's just something that you can say, reword this email for me. Most people, that's all they see it capable of. It is capable of a lot more, but I think people need guidance for how to actually engage with it.
There's also a fear of just adopting it too early. They don't understand really what it can do. And that's going to be the main fear, I think, for FMs. And also a fear to make them more efficient, which sounds crazy, right? Because if it means they're more efficient, they get a little bit worried about maybe, is their role safe? And it's not the case. It just means you can be busier in other areas.
Absolutely.
And again, like speaking purely from the engineering side, cost. It's a big barrier, and that's where having a truly thought out, integrated workplace strategy really comes into play that forecasts your return on investment. And actually, that's the time you have a chat with your service partners and you get them to help you on that journey and potentially even source external funding to take you there if your ROI is within forecast ROI is within the right period of time.
There's contact details for all of us in the back of the white paper. So if you do want to have another conversation, reach out.
Let us know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.